The most important one was the end of the war of religion and the building of the international system, the Westphalian order as we call it, in 1648. Because until the end of the war of religions, the Pope was the major leader not only of religious affairs but also of war. He took over the sovereignty of princes, kings. Everything was done under the canopy of the Catholic Church, even art. There was no secular art, there was sacred art or music. So the term seculum, which in Latin just means century, started to be used to refer to anything that was not anymore under the purview of the Church. In the book, I explained that this division was intertwined, associated with the division between religion and politics in the way that we know it now. Again, there was politics before, but the politics was not secular in the sense that it was still conducted and done under the auspices of the Church. The moment the king said, "I take over," a certain number of political functions will become secularized. The war, the first thing that became secularized is the war and the building of the international secular order as we know it today, as I said, in 1648, and we are still operating within this system, although it has changed a lot and expanded a lot since 1648. So that's the three B's, believe, belong, behave, that sociologists of religion use a lot to measure the religiosity of people. What I did in this book is to use it to measure the status of the religious community. Because again, we are now at a stage in secularization where religion is seen first and foremost as personal, private, and relying on the choice of the people. But we have forgotten that all religions start as community. They don't target individuals per se. They have the goal to build new communities. So my goal was to look exactly at that. What are the ways of believing or belonging or behaving that people invest in their religious community, not only as their personal choice, but how they see themselves contributing to the existence or development of this religious community, one. And second, the nation as the most central community giving sense to identity. Nation is also based on three B's. You have to believe that you are part of that. There is a narrative with it, there is an ideology. Some people die for their nation. So you have to get this sense of belonging, attachment, and you have to behave. If you don't behave as a citizen, there are consequences, right? So how does the three operate within the national boundaries? And what I show in the book is there are diverse typology. The first one and the most important that come across all the cases from Turkey, Syria, Russia, and India is when a religious community aims at taking over the national community, when the religious identity completely overlap with the national identity. The hope for the scholarship is that my colleagues in political science will start looking more seriously to bodies of knowledge that they don't particularly turn to look at religion and politics. I have used in this work, in this book, a lot of scholarship coming from religious studies, from history, from anthropology, in order to contextualize and to understand how the terms that are now into dispute, either sovereignty or law, community, they have an history, and that this history influences the way that people are using them today. And so the goal was to walk the walk for my colleague and say, you see, you don't have to become a theologian, but you can make use of this knowledge to better understand or better interpret some of the ongoing situations. And that's what I keep saying to people involved in policy making. Religion pervades a lot of action, investment, mobilization that we do not look into, and religion is not the monopoly of the religious actors. Start to look at the way that states or the other political entity also, even if they do it very discreetly, actually working, operating with either religious institution or ideas or actors. It's about time that we look at the communal dimension of religion and that we step away from only looking at individuals. What I show in the book is that it is impossible to understand the social mechanism of religion by sampling a group of people because these mechanisms come from this long history, this imaginary, this vision that's been influencing everybody, including the one who don't believe, and that are there in our political culture, public culture. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that we also need to broaden up our understanding of politics in the sense that it is not only about elections or formal politics. The religious communities are the most efficient when they operate at what's called informal, non-institutionalized form of politics at the level of community, at the level of civil action. And that's also something that we tend to neglect. The pandemic has shown how religious community could actually play a political role in the positive sense of the term by providing services, not only material services, but also psychological aid. When there was the only community left, even online, you could not go to school, you could not entertain, you could not work, but people turned to religious groups online because it was bringing them this kind of connection and cohesion, the sense of solidarity. And I think these two things really have to be taken more seriously.